This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
What's up, y'all? It's your host, Will Cooper, coming back for a new episode of the HuntStand podcast. If you're listening to this podcast, and I'm a betting man, more than likely you have the HuntStand app downloaded on your phone. But if you don't worry, y'all. I encourage you to head on over to Google Play Store, Apple Store, and make sure you get the HuntStand app downloaded on your phones. We have a free version, and we also have a pro version that you can get many more features in the free version, and you can get all 50 states just for $30 a year. Ton of features, great details in the maps. If you haven't yet, head on over, download the HuntStand app today. On today's podcast, we're going to be talking about something that I think is going to turn a lot of your heads. We got the boys, Mark and Danny from Swamp N Stomp Outdoors, to come on and talk to us about hunting the whitetail rut in July. That's right. I said the whitetail rut in July and hunting it specifically. Now, for those of you that may or may not be familiar with deer hunting in Florida, it's a lot different. The deer are a little bit smaller. Antlers may not get as big, but either way, they're awesome trophies. It seems like it's a ton of fun to go out there on public land and chase after these deer in the swamps. And you might have a gator down below you. You never know. Or you might have a giant python. It's Florida. You don't know. But nonetheless, we're going to get Mark and Danny on here to talk about that, hunting the whitetail rut in July, because they get a ton of questions, and I'm sure y'all are probably going to have a few after this. So again, y'all, we just want to thank y'all for tuning into the HuntStand podcast. You got a lot of other choices out there, so just the fact that you listen to our podcast, we really appreciate it. It means a lot to us. If you haven't yet, make sure that whatever platform you're listening on, you rate, review, subscribe, follow. It really helps us out. We greatly appreciate y'all, and we hope you enjoy this episode of the HuntStand podcast.
If we say something stupid, can you cut it out?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. People always say that, and they never do it.
Well, guys, let's get this thing rolling. So, Danny, Mark, just want to thank y'all for hopping on the HuntStand podcast with me today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Absolutely, guys. I'm excited about what we're going to be talking about, specifically deer hunting in Florida, July rut. So we're going to get into that. But first, what I like to do to start off each podcast is I like for the guests to give the listeners kind of a 30-foot tree stand view of who you are. So it doesn't matter who goes first, but just kind of tell us who you are, where you're from, and how you've gotten to where you are in life now.
Good.
Oh, I'm going first? Okay. So I didn't grow up here. I actually grew up in Europe, and while living in Europe, there really wasn't any opportunity for me to hunt. Mm-hmm. So when I came to the States, I was real excited to get into it, but I didn't really have anybody to teach me. And so I've only been hunting for about 7 years. And I really struggled to figure out Florida, because Florida is such a unique place to hunt. And a lot of the media that's available doesn't really apply to Florida. So once I kind of figured it out, that was kind of what motivated me to want to do the YouTube channel. Was I really wanted to make a resource for the Florida hunter to learn all the stuff that other people up north can learn from, the variety of different things that are available, but right. We just didn't have a Florida one. So that's kind of what got me into it. What else do you want to know?
Man, yeah, I think you pretty much covered it right there. I mean, aside from that, this isn't y'all's full-time job, though, is it?
It's not.
What do y'all do outside of what this is, outside of Swamp N Stomp? What do y'all do?
So I'm a marine biologist. I actually work for a government agency here in Florida.
Okay.
Danny will tell you all about himself.
Yeah, so pretty much I'm Danny. I kind of grew up hunting. I got into it with my dad and my uncle, hunting in the Everglades. we used to hunt we started off in this place called Brown Farms, which is now closed. It's all Everglades. They actually turned it into a stormwater treatment area. They flooded the whole area. But I grew up just hunting mostly. We started off in public land and then eventually moved into some private that ended up getting overrun with all kinds of crazy stuff. So then I moved back to public land. And I've been doing that primarily. I think my son won a GoPro, so he gave it to me because he was like 6.
Dad won it.
At one of my jobs events, and I just started filming with that. I started filming with it, and like some of the first few videos that we put up were like very raw footage. It was like literally I filmed it and then I put it on YouTube. But then when I met Mark, we actually made it a little bit more. We made it a more serious thing. We gave it a name. Ended up having the whole Swamp N Stomp thing born from that, and then we had a direction to go. For my main job, I'm pretty much I do air conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be an auto mechanic, and then I moved over to the HVAC field and I've been doing this for probably 14 years. Worked for a commercial company.
There you go.
For Daikin. But my passion is hunting, mainly deer. We do get out to birds and stuff, but I primarily love deer hunting.
Man.
It's definitely our passion is the deer.
It's
Heck yeah.
What drives us crazy. We love it,
Who doesn't like deer, right? Who doesn't?
Plenty of people out there. There's all these crazy people that
Yes.
love turkey over deer hunting. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like chasing turkeys.
Like Josh.
Terrible at it. But I like chasing them. I don't actually kill them, but deer is just, that's what I love.
Heck yeah.
That was a lot of fun too, but nothing replaces that deer.
How long ago did y'all start Swamp N Stomp?
I want to say like probably, I think this would be like our 3rd or 4th year that we're really taking it seriously. I think before that we kind of, we put some videos out. We weren't really like hardcore into it. And after a while, basically that video where the gator chased you, that was like the video that kind of blew it up. That video, quickly got like 1 million views, and that's when we started getting a much bigger following. And then we were like, wow, people actually want to watch our stuff. So we started taking it a lot more seriously after that.
Man, it's funny how everybody just starts. You just got to start somewhere, man. You just got to start. You just got to start putting content out there. And so kind of tell the listeners, I mean, where has this journey taken you from, essentially winning your 6-year-old son winning a GoPro and then just putting the content and getting chased by a gator? I mean, tell us how this journey has been thus far.
Well, it's been pretty crazy. I mean, every year it seems like we grow pretty exponential. What's the word?
Exponential.
So, I mean, we've met a lot of great people. I think we've networked with people from out of state. We actually had a guy come down and shoot a turkey this past season. Mm-hmm. So, we've been meeting all kinds of really good people, dealing with some companies. And I mean, it's kind of funny because here in Florida, pretty much any management area that public land that we hunt, we run into people, or people recognize us. We've had people like drive by, you see them skid the brakes and then they'll reverse. Hey, are you those Swamp N Stomp guys? So it's been very humbling,
Yeah, I think that's the right word. I mean, it's been a really humbling experience.
It's been gnarly.
Like I said, we never expected anybody would actually want to watch our stuff. We just wanted to share our experiences. And, we get messages all the time now that are like, oh, I started hunting again because of your channel. Or we just got a comment the other day that was like, I killed my first buck, because, watching your videos and everything I learned from it. And
heck yeah,
you read stuff like that. I mean, it's a lot of work that we put into this, and let's be real, we don't really make any money off of it. It's like, it's just a labor of love, but you get messages like that and it's like,
it's rewarding.
This is worth it. We keep doing it. So
absolutely.
Yeah. It's been an awesome journey. And I feel like it's also kind of just getting started too.
I was just about to say.
Future for sure.
Heck yeah. Well, man, guys, one of the reasons I wanted to get y'all on here, we had talked a couple weeks ago, and one of the things that I feel like not a whole lot of people know about, and hopefully not going to be blowing up your stuff too much, is Florida public land whitetail hunting. And specifically, this crazy rut that y'all have in July. Like, tell us.
Many ruts.
Yeah, many ruts.
We have ruts throughout the entire season.
Yeah, like when you're telling me that the rut starts in July, I'm like, wait, what? July?
Yeah, that's usually how people react to it. Yeah. The rut in Florida is kind of a special situation because I think up north, the weather patterns are relatively predictable. The rut happens at a time that when the fawns drop, it's going to be springtime. There's going to be a lot of food available for those fawn to feed. There's lots of safe bedding for them to be in. Here in Florida, the plants never die. They green year round.
Yeah,
and there's usually something to eat all the time. They don't have to worry about cold weather and making it through the winter. But here, there's a lot of other disturbances that impact their strategy of life,
like alligators.
Yeah, sure. I mean, but another big thing is water levels. We have a very flat landscape, and when we get our rainy season, the amount of water that's on that landscape changes drastically. And I'm not going to pretend to know everything about this. I know it has to do with the water levels, and that's kind of why the rut varies throughout the state. But yeah, I mean, we have rut down in South Florida, generally Southwest Florida. It tends to kick off real early. That gets going in July, and so we're 2 weekends away. Next weekend is our weekend to check our cameras one last time, and the following weekend we'll be in the tree stand. And we've got some pretty good bucks on camera, and we're pretty excited for it. But yeah, that rut kind of bounces across the state, and then you've got some areas of the state that start rut in like December. Yeah.
Man. Some of the further north of the state, you'll have it, December, January.
Or even Zone B. Zone B starts super late too.
Yeah, and Zone B is like in the middle of the state. So
it doesn't make any sense. There's like a pocket. It's basically kind of around the Tampa area.
Really?
And it's just like, why that little pocket has this late rut? It doesn't make any sense. Like, you would normally argue it's like a latitudinal thing. Mm-hmm. Like, as you further up the state, it gets later and later. But then there's Zone B that just throws all that off. So.
It's pretty bizarre. Like, having hard-horn deer in July, in other, I guess in your area, it'd be like, that's crazy. They're still in velvet. They're all grown.
Yeah, my deer is still working on getting tipped out in their velvet right now, and I'm in Central Texas.
Yeah, there's straight up hardhorn. There's rubs. There's scrapes. You'll find scrapes underwater. But there's videos of it. Yeah. Deer scraping in the water.
Seriously,
it's even possible. And it happens every year. Somebody will post a picture of 3 bucks. One of them will have hard horns. One of them will be in velvet, and one of them will have just shed its antlers. All at the same time.
Man, Florida is an insane state. Like, I've been there a few times for like iCast and some prior jobs of mine. And, when I think of Florida, I think of bass fishing. I think of saltwater fishing. I think of tarpon. I think of all that. And until I talked to you guys, I never associated Florida with whitetail hunting. So
it's a shame, because I think, we kind of talked about this before, but I always like to compare our deer to like the Coues deer. Yeah. Right. The Coues deer has become this like really popular thing. Thanks to Meat Eater, they talked a lot about it. Now people go and they're always wanting to go out there and hunt Coues deer. And the reason, they're like, oh, they're really small deer, but the terrain is so cool. It's just so different and unique. That's the reason people that's their reason for doing it. I'm like, well, what about Florida? Our deer are tiny too. And
it's cool terrain.
check that one off.
The terrain is like crazy. I mean, you could be walking waist deep through water to get to your tree stand. Like, I mean, maybe this is why people don't want to hunt it, because you're like walking through gator infested waters to get to your tree stand, at night.
Hot mosquitoes.
Like, it's hot. Yeah. The mosquitoes try to carry you out of the tree stand.
Jeez.
It's rough. It's kind of, you have to love it or you're just gonna plain hate it.
Have y'all been seeing a dramatic growth over the past couple of years in Florida public land hunting?
Well, I think I think there is a lot more people getting involved in the hunting community, because you see it all the time. People moving here and they want to learn how to hunt Florida. I mean, a lot of our subscribers are like from out of state that have moved here and they want to start learning. Also, people that have been here and just now got interested in hunting, because it seems like there's like a trend going on right now where everybody wants to be out in the woods and doing outdoorsy stuff. So,
I think it's more everybody wants to be in Florida. We got all the New Yorkers moving down and they're like, I used to hunt up there.
Yeah.
How do you do it here?
But there's definitely a good bit of influx. I want to say there's an influx of people moving here and new hunters all over the place. So I think that is growing.
Yeah, I think hunting's become kind of like a little bit more mainstream.
Yeah.
Not mainstream, but like I think it's getting more attention in the media now. And I think a lot of people are starting to think about where their food comes from.
Yeah.
And so we've actually had a lot of people interested in our content that you would never really think of as the hunting community. Like a lot of people think of hunters like rednecks, country boys, stuff like that. We've started getting a lot of people interested that they just want to know where their food's coming from and they want that clean protein source. So I think that's really cool to have, more diversity in the hunting community down here.
Do y'all think, and we may go down a rabbit hole with this, that's okay. That's what podcasts are for. But do y'all think that is because of, you brought them up a second ago, but do y'all think that's because of Meat Eater getting on such a large platform like Netflix? Like hunting has, if you think about it, like from my perspective and opinion, I don't think hunting has ever been on a bigger platform. Would y'all agree?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's always been like hunting channels, but you had to like subscribe to them or get them through cable or something like that,
Pay $25 extra a month. Yeah.
Exactly. So like, like those shows, the Hogman and different things like that. I think those are definitely bringing more people into the whole hunting thing. And with, I guess, mainstream TV not being so great these days, a lot of people are watching TV through YouTube. Through Fire Stick or whatever the case may be, or just watching YouTube. My stepdad, he's like on YouTube all day. And it's like, that's pretty much his TV now. So they're getting more exposure to all this kind of stuff.
Well, and also even there's been some hunting shows that have showed up on things like Amazon Prime, which let's be real, so many people have Amazon Prime and you're just scanning through it and you're like, oh, I guess I'll watch that, But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I think Meat Eater's doing, wonderful things for the hunting community in general. Like for them to bring it more to like a mainstream platform. There's so many people out there. I've talked to people that don't hunt but they love Meat Eater.
Yeah.
They think it's so cool. And I think Steven Ranella does a really good job at narrating those hunts in a way that even people that don't hunt will think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Our content's very different. Our content's really raw and kind of straight to the point, which a lot of people like as well. But Steven Ranella does a really good job at like relating it to things that non-hunters can also.
He's not making like a trophy thing. He's like, I'm doing this for meat. So when he went on that blacktail hunt, he was ecstatic with the deer he shot. It's definitely not like what you would call a trophy animal. Yeah, but he was ecstatic. He showed
that's
you how
a
to cook
trophy
it
in Florida, by the way.
He showed you how to cook it and everything. So I think that's where a lot of people that do get shy away from hunting, they think it's a trophy sort of thing. So I think that's what Meat Eater really brings to the table and helps out.
I have that conversation with people all the time. Like They're like, I'm not against hunting. I'm against trophy hunting. And I'm like, well, you realize it's like maybe 1/4% of hunters are actually like trophy hunters. You know, they're thinking of people that are going out shooting lions on safari and stuff. It's like most people do that. You know, that's not really what hunting's about.
Exactly.
And I think Meat Eater's really showing that.
Yeah.
I guess a big bridging that gap.
So back to Florida deer hunting. I'm okay. I like rabbit holes. It's fun. So for the guy that's from Ohio right now, or Tennessee, Missouri, or just not Florida, right? And he's hearing this, that the rut is in July, and you also have got some ruts in December, November, January. Like your rut is all over the place, and it sounds like this crazy whitetail season that I'm going to be sitting in a tree stand watching a gator swim underneath me. How does y'all's hunting differ from, say, somebody in Illinois, aside from the weather temperature and bigger deer, of course, but like, are there differences? Are there similarities?
Theirs is very different. So
we're going to go down so many rabbit holes.
Yeah, I'll touch on this one just a little bit, and then I'll let more Phil continue on it. So for the first time, I mean, I've hunted Kentucky twice, and then I hunted Wisconsin for the first time last year.
Mm-hmm.
And so it seems like the age class in those areas the deer are a little bit older and a little smarter, at least the broader part of the population.
They have PhDs.
Yeah, because it seems like when they go nocturnal, they're nocturnal. I have never in my life seen so many deer at night than I did at Wisconsin, where here in Florida, it seems like you can go out and scout. Let's say you scout for 2 or 3 hours, you're going to see some deer.
Yeah.
Whereas when we were in Wisconsin, man, during the day, I covered quite a few miles while I was out there, and I probably spooked up one deer, didn't see it. And we were in the swamp. I did a little bit of highland. I did a little bit of everything. You know, we walked around different spots. We went around at night and started spotlighting. Every field had at least 30 deer in it. 15 to 30 deer. It was insane. I was like, where are they coming from?
Sounds like Texas.
He was convinced there was no deer.
Yeah, I was like, I see the prints.
I had been there before to that particular area, so I had already seen a lot of deer the last time I went, and I wasn't able to connect with one, so like I really wanted to go back. And so I kind of knew some areas I wanted to check out, but it was like crazy. You'd be walking through the woods and be like, rub there, like scrape here. Like there's just there's sign everywhere, and you're like, this place has to be crawling with deer, but you never see them. And then, we met up after the first day of scouting, and he's like, this place sucks.
I was so frustrated.
Like, he was so mad, and I was like, oh man, I saw a bunch of deer, and I saw this and that, and, I found some great sign. And then finally, yeah, like you said, we went out at night, and it was just like, oh, okay.
They go in their holes during the day.
That's where they've been.
So the really like interesting thing about that is a lot of people here in Florida are like, oh, our public land is so pressured. There's so much pressure here. It's crazy, and it's different. Like the kind of pressure that we get here is different because you get a lot of like off-road vehicle traffic because you can't really get very far in our woods without having, you can hike it, but it's so hot. A lot of people aren't really up to it to hike miles and miles into the woods. So people use buggies and all kinds of stuff like that. So you could be sitting in your tree stand, like one of the areas we love to hunt. It's like pretty normal. You're sitting in your tree stand and here comes a swamp buggy, just like blah, 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 rolls right under your tree. And a lot of people are like, oh, I'm giving up. Like, this is ridiculous. He just blew up this whole area. And so like they think of that as pressure. But after experiencing the Midwest, like our pressure is like, no, I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as it is up there.
Because there's so many more hunters up there. We have a decent sized hunting community, but it's not even the tip of the iceberg of some of these other states where they shut down school when General Gun starts. So it's like,
that's like Midwest. I think is like Pennsylvania. I think that's a thing.
Yeah.
Like
so it's
opening day is a day off or something like that.
That's insane.
Over here we also have less deer, so there's that. Like the population in general, Florida's very nutrient poor. So we don't have giant fields of corn that feed deer very well. The deer up there have plenty of food. Down here, they don't. they're browsing all the time, and so we just don't have huge populations. So when you combine the smaller population with the amount of pressure that we have, it might feel like there's a ton of pressure, but after seeing how many deer there were in Wisconsin and then not seeing anything during the day, yeah, the pressure just, it doesn't even compare.
Yeah.
So
Are y'all allowed to bait?
no, not on public land.
Gotcha.
You can on private.
Only private.
I think also the biggest thing is how our deer respond to pressure. Where if you bump a 5-year-old buck, you're probably not going to see him near that area again, and for a good while. Whereas here, you bump 3 or 4-year-old buck, maybe it's, let's say, even a 5-year-old. Chances are you're probably going to see him again.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to blow him out of the area code. But it seems like in those northern states where the deer, they get bumped and they're pretty much gone.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, I think that's another huge difference between what we see here.
Well, and also, like you said earlier, our deer are younger,
Mm-hmm.
so they don't necessarily, like, I've had it before where I have like young bucks come out and they smell you up in the tree stand, and then you can tell they smell you. And they're like kind of tipping their nose up in the air, and they don't even know to react to it like it's danger, because it's like their first season ever, and they're like,
Yeah,
that's weird, and they just kind of keep wandering. It's like, well, maybe I should fling an arrow at him and teach him a lesson.
Like, what is that up in the tree?
It seems like they don't learn it until they've like actually associated that smell with danger. So.
We're going to interrupt this podcast real quick, y'all, from a word from our sponsors. The HuntStand podcast is brought to you by Browning, makers of fine firearms, gear, and technical clothing. The best there is. Up next, we got Federal Premium and their lineup of Terminal Ascent. Go beyond what you ever thought possible with Federal Premium Terminal Ascent. And finally, Work Sharp Tools. Sharpen every knife you own. All right, y'all, we're going to get back to this episode of the HuntStand podcast. How far are you guys going in? I know you touched on it a little bit ago that, some guys, I mean, it kind of sounds like, I don't know if y'all have ever chased after over-the-counter mule deer in Arizona in January, but it kind of sounds like Arizona mule deer. Like, I've been up there, and there are hordes of people going up and down these roads, glassing knobs, like they're just taking a step out of their truck. They're looking, and if nothing, they're on to the next ridge. But what they don't realize is that I'm getting on my feet going in 2, 3, 4 miles, and I'm seeing more deer than they are. Is it kind of the same thing where y'all are?
I think in some areas that could be the case, but in other areas where you are allowed to use off-road vehicles, I kind of feel like that's less the case, because you can, people can get pretty far out just driving their off-road vehicles. So, it really depends on the habitat, or not the habitat, but the wildlife management area that we're hunting. Like, there's a lot of times when you can hunt right off of an ORV trail, a buggy trail, and literally kill a deer walking down the trail. They use those trails all the time.
Yeah.
Then there's other areas where you're not allowed to drive vehicles through, and there I feel like it pays to get off the road and walk a little ways.
Yeah, I think there's so our management areas, there's a lot of them, and they're all very different. So, for example, if you're going to be hunting like an area that's a national forest or something of that caliber, then yeah, you can get way off the road and be in the middle of nowhere. Whereas there's other places that are just management areas; they're not part of a national forest or anything like that. And a lot of times there's roads that kind of intercept it, and you can go down the road and then cross over maybe 1,000 yards, and you're on the other road. You know what I mean? So some of them are divided up that way. So in some cases, you really can't get away from. You can't do like a couple miles in, but for the most part, I think we've killed most of our deer like less than 300 yards from the road. In most cases, no more than a mile. I think the furthest deer that I've killed off the road was probably exactly that, maybe a mile or less.
Okay.
I haven't had to go any further than that.
But I mean, that again comes down to the fact that there's actually really good access with vehicles in Florida. So
yeah, but that's why we don't really have vehicles.
We don't. But I mean, the vehicles can get you some of the way in, and then you walk the rest of it. But I mean, we spend a lot of time looking for overlooked areas. You know, the areas that people just kind of walk right past, and they're like, I want to get 5 miles out into the woods, and they just get out the truck and just start hiking. We're like, all right. See you, buddy.
Bye.
I'm gonna hunt right here where I can see the truck. You know?
Sit right behind the check station. There's a 10-pointer there.
Pretty much every check station has a 10-pointer.
Yeah.
But yeah, we kind of preach this all the time. It's like where you find sign, like where you find hot sign, hunt it. Like it doesn't matter where it is. If it's right next to the road, the hot sign is there. The sign doesn't lie. You know, so we'll walk. Sometimes we walk super far to find the spot we want to hunt. Sometimes it's a couple 100 yards from the truck. You know,
yeah.
Wherever you find that good sign, that's it.
Okay. So something I want to touch on, you know, we kind of talked about that first time that we met, is y'all's season and how you kind of sounds like there's some different opening dates across the state and how y'all are planning and scheduling these hunts based on season starting, what the RUT is doing. So obviously RUT's kicked into full swing in some parts of the state already. When does the season actually start again? Beginning of August?
So on private land and sovereign lands, it starts this coming weekend.
Okay, so July.
But
July 30th.
we won't be hunting until the following weekend we have sovereign lands like edges of rivers and lakes that are basically below the high water line.
Okay.
Those are like unmanaged public land, and so they just follow the regular private land season.
Okay.
So there's a couple areas you can go hunt those, but we have, you know, like you said, there's so many opening days. There's so many places that we plan to hunt. We can only plan and scout so many areas, so we kind of pick and choose the areas that we like, that we know are really productive. So, but yeah, to answer that question, like how we plan our season, I think we have like 6 or 7 opening days planned for this year.
Yeah.
So like 2 weekends from now is opening day number 1, and then 3 weeks after that, opening day number 2. And what does that put us?
I think another 3 weeks, or actually 3 to 4 weeks after that, we got another one in Central Florida.
Yeah, then it's basically Zone C opens up.
Yeah.
Well, no, then it'll be like the area close to here, and then there's
Zone C.
Yeah, and then there's the Central Florida one comes after that, and then I'm sure there's some other ones in there, but I just
and then we end up like in October. In October we'll be hunting like pretty much north-ish Florida.
Yeah.
So we usually do like one trip to the Panhandle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like usually like
December. It opens
early,
December 9th.
Yeah, late December, mid to late December. It's an archery muzzleloader hunt that we like to go on over there. So that's like pretty much usually our last deer hunt.
Okay. And does it go all the way through January in some
It
parts
does.
of the state?
Yeah, in some places, I think the latest hunt I've ever done for deer was in February.
Okay.
Which was in Zone B, which
Dang.
is that weird pocket I was telling you about. So there's a couple spots that open late. Like you can have opening day like late December.
Man, there's a lot of crossover with Texas and Florida.
It changes like everything. If you're the kind of person that is willing to move from state to state to make your season as long as possible, you could start it in Florida and then finish it
and end it in Florida. Well, with that being said, that's kind of like a perfect segue for the next question that I had for you. You know, let's say you got a guy from Texas, you know, or Georgia, wherever, he's hearing this podcast and he's like, man, I want to give this a shot. You know, it sounds fun. It sounds like something challenging. Where do they start, and what does it cost a non-resident guy to come out there?
watch every video on our YouTube channel and tell
Mhm.
all your friends to watch every video on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Swamp and Stomp. Subscribe.
Yeah.
The biggest thing you really want to do is get into the brochures. There's myfwc.com,
Okay.
and you can go on there and download like any brochures, or just go over the rules and regulations, because it's kind of funny. In the south part of the state, you have some rules where it's 2 points on one side, and that's your
At least 5 inches.
that's your regulations for there. Now you go to the Panhandle, it has to have at least 3, and then just south of the Panhandle, it has to have 3 on one side plus or a 10-inch main beam. So all the different places, they all have different kind of regulations. So you got to be really careful with that. Some of them allow you to have to shoot does during archery, but a good bit of them don't.
Okay.
So you really have to read the regulations and figure out where you want to hunt. If you are going to hunt a national forest, some of those forestry hunts have different things. And you also want to take note of quota hunts, because if you're going to hunt a quota, you have to apply for it ahead of time and then gain the quota, and then you can hunt there. So there's a lot of stuff in those regulation books right at the beginning of the book that's going to tell you what's what for each area.
I was just about to ask that.
So our quota hunts that we have are kind of like a tag system that you'd find in other states, where you get like preference points and stuff, and you have to apply consecutive years to maintain your preference points.
Okay.
So if you get one, and I'm going to say this because I think a lot of people forget to do this. If you get a quota permit and you don't plan on using it, just return it right away, because we get like reissues. You can reapply for the returned permits, and a lot of times like permits they don't end up getting used because people just kind of hold on to them. So if you're from out of state and you want to come hunt Florida, by all means come do it. But if you are going to apply for those permits, like please, be considerate of everybody else. And if you're not going to use them, return them. But that was a little bit of a tangent.
No, not at all, man. So primarily Florida, from kind of the sounds of it, is primarily over the counter, with the exception of some units, kind of like some states for out west.
Yeah. There's a good bit of public land that you don't need a quota.
Yeah, most of our public land areas, I would say, do need quotas, but there's still quite a few of them that don't.
Yeah.
Need a permit, so you just go there anytime you want. But yeah, he also pointed out the does down in South Florida. There's really only one WMA that allows you to shoot does
on public.
Yeah, on public land. So, but I would also think if people are coming down, they're probably not coming down to just shoot a doe. I would hope. So
yeah, and the fee is $150.
Okay.
Yeah, for a non-resident, you just look it up.
Oh,
yeah. So, yeah.
I guess I was thinking of the fishing license, but yeah, $150. That's cheap compared to a lot of other states.
I was gonna say that's not bad at all. Like I think that's one of the reasons why Arizona mule deer has gotten so popular over the past 3-4 years, because of how cheap it is for a lot. It's a good barrier to entry for people to get into public land hunting, but man, this is sounding more and more enticing.
There is one other thing you have to get, though, if you're going to hunt public down here.
There's more.
You have to get a wildlife management permit, wildlife management area permit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like $20.
Okay.
And you actually have to buy that before you can apply for any of the quota permits.
Okay.
But
so yeah.
I was kind of joking a little bit, not really, when I was saying go watch the YouTube channel, but there is actually a video on there if people are interested in this that I put together with the Florida chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically like a PowerPoint presentation where we kind of talk about like everything you need to know to get into hunting in Florida. And you can find it on our YouTube channel. I think if you just search Seminole whitetail deer.
Yeah.
So that'd be a great starting point if anybody's thinking about coming to Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it, man. No, it's all good stuff. I mean, heck, I'm serious. I want to come out there next year. I want to hunt with you guys. It sounds like a good time.
Yeah, Josh and Jake were saying the same thing. So you guys are welcome anytime. Just give us a bit of a heads up so we can kind of plan around it. But, definitely a good time.
So what would you say, that non-resident that's listening right now, or even resident, say there's a guy in Florida that, he, like y'all are talking earlier, moved down from wherever out of state and they're a deer hunter, but they want to know how to get into it. What's, I know we're running out of time here. So what's kind of some parting advice, if you will, or tips that you have for that guy that's wanting to hunt in Florida?
You mean as far as like strategy?
No, strategy. We can talk about look at it from a perspective of they're wanting to do it for the first time. What's a good process and just way to go about coming out to Florida to hunt?
I'm going to go ahead and start this off with, a lot of people see how many predators we have down here and are very off by it. Like I have a buddy back from where's he from? Like the Boston area.
Yeah.
And he, you don't see many snakes up there or anything, gators or anything like that. So he was really afraid of gators and snakes. But now that he's been out into the swamp with me a few times, it's like, yeah, we see the gators, but they tend to want to avoid you.
Yeah.
Let's be real, there's gator hunting as well. So they associate people with danger, unless it's like
most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time. There are incidences that you may get chased by one or have a buddy that got chased by one. But that's very rare.
Yeah.
As many people have in the woods and as many times I've been in the woods, I've never really run into an issue. The time that I did get chased by a gator was during a duck hunt. I think that gator just got used to picking off ducks from hunters. And he associated hunters with food. But aside from that, I mean, don't be afraid of the predators. Be aware that they're there. Mm-hmm. And if you feel more comfortable, you can wear snake boots. That's always an option. And, there's plenty of people here in South Florida that want to help you.
Yeah.
So get on the Facebook groups, let people know what you want to do. We see it all the time. Somebody's going to reach out to you and be like, okay, you can come down and, we'll help you get your boots wet.
It's probably a good opportunity to mention some of the Facebook groups that are worth joining. So there are some that are kind of dumpster fires, for lack of a better word. But the Backcountry Hunters and Anglers group is great. We have a page as well. And for the most part, either one of those, and people are going to be really supportive if you're trying to come check out Florida. So there's also that e-bike one. There's a bunch of them. Don't go for the biggest one is what I would say. The bigger ones usually have a lot of trash, talk and stuff on there. So
yeah,
maybe avoid it. But
Florida Bow Hunter, I think is really good.
Florida, yeah, that's actually I'm gonna put that at the top of the list. Florida Bow Hunters, that's a great one.
Yeah, because it's a community of guys that they're very like-minded. They're it's not a huge community, but everybody there is always willing to help. Anytime you see a question on there, you see some legit answers. It's not like people just tasing them or anything like that. So that's a really good spot to start and hook up with somebody that can kind of get you going.
Mm-hmm.
I want to follow up on what he was saying about the predators. I would say maybe don't be afraid of predators, but just be aware of your surroundings. That's the best thing you can do. Just pay attention where you're putting your feet. Look around you because, we spend a ton of time out there in the woods and really have very rarely had close encounters. And even when you do have a close encounter, it's usually the animal's running away when you notice it's there. But just pay attention. And if you do that, you should be fine. And, carry a taser just in case.
Yeah, because you never know. You never know.
Panthers, we got gators,
and the spiders,
Spiders.
We
got black widows.
And we got a lot of spiders. So I got bit by a spider. I think it was last season. So I had a big old.
We're just trying to scare everybody away now.
Yeah, we've talked it up. We've talked Florida to be this cool thing, and now it's like, oh crap! Everybody's gonna start coming out here. No. We got gators, spiders, cougars. Stay out.
Tips for a person coming to Florida. Thermacell. I don't really use one, but most people love them.
Absolutely.
Keep the bugs away from you. Some people like to run 2 of them.
Well, your mosquitoes are like the size of a freaking B-16 bomber.
Well, they're actually really small. It's just that there's 7 million of them in location that you find yourself.
Yeah.
The other thing would be
Hydration.
Drink a lot of water.
Drink more water than you think.
Chug a ton of water before you leave the truck so that you're super hydrated before you start your day.
Mm-hmm.
And spend as much time in the tree as you can. They are, like we said before, they are not those crepuscular animals, twilight animals. They will walk in the middle of the day when it's 95 degrees out.
Yeah,
they do it
from 10 to 11. Usually, when I let an arrow fly,
and that's the money hour, the magic.
Yeah, 10 to 11.
I wouldn't say it's like the money time, but a lot of deer have been killed around that time.
Yeah,
just stay in the tree as long as you can bear it.
Have y'all done all day sits before?
Absolutely. In 95 degree weather.
How?
Yeah, I stopped doing it about 2 years ago, but I've done quite a few, and it's brutal.
How?
Yeah, now we kind of take a 2-hour break. We get down and get some lunch and get right back up again. But I haven't done it all day.
It's been at least 2 years I haven't done it, and I'm probably not going to do any more of those.
Dude, I'm from Texas, and I mean we're dealing with 110 degree temps right now, and right now 95 degrees sounds glorious, but during deer season, heck no, you will not see me doing that.
Wait, so you're in Texas now?
Oh yeah, Central Texas.
When are we coming to Texas? Is the next question.
Dude, we are a target-rich environment. Is all I can say.
We'll have a conversation about that another time, but we definitely have that high on our list.
Oh yeah, we'll take that outside this podcast. We don't want to let folks know where the secret hunting holes are. Well, guys, man, I really appreciate y'all hopping on the podcast, talking about Florida deer hunting, y'all's crazy rut, and kind of letting people know about the opportunity that's available to them. Especially somebody that may have just moved to Florida, somebody that's maybe never heard about this and they want to give it a shot. But man, just thanks for taking the time tonight to talk about this.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, we always enjoy doing these things. We love seeing people's reactions when we tell them about our crazy ruts. So
absolutely,
good time.
Absolutely. Well, I know we'll definitely have to get y'all back on here pretty soon, actually, because for Field Note Fridays, because we do a rut report. So I think it will be quite interesting for people to hear about a July rut report in Florida.
We can start one right now.
Well, guys, man, really appreciate it.
All right, man.
Thanks for having us, Will.
There you have it, everybody. Danny and Mark brought on some Florida deer hunting knowledge for y'all. If you got questions, email us, podcast@huntstand.com, or head on over to Swamp N Stomp's social media page, DM them, DM us. You got questions, we'll have answers for you, or we can find the answer for you. So either way, just want to thank y'all for tuning into the HuntStand podcast, and we'll see you on the next one.